What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of the D-Pad Connect podcast. As always, I am your host, George, and I am here with the rest of the crew alongside my fellow nerdy brethren. I was trying to think of something funny to call all of us because I didn't want to go around and do the weird introductions, but I don't know. I guess we're just all nerdy and we're all together. So you know these guys already. I mean, I don't have to introduce them again, do I? I'm kidding. But I have the one and only Brandon with me, coming from the same time and space that he's been stuck in for like the last episode, I think.
Yes, please get me out of here. I would love to see my family again.
I don't know, man. I don't know if Beerus is going to let you go from that place, but we'll figure it out for you. And then, as always, Nate is coming to us from Midgar, which I don't know how the air quality is over there. It looks pretty bad.
No, that's actually pretty good. That's not as bad as it looks, trust me.
A little bit of black lung will do anything for you, right?
It's always night, that's all. It's just dark out. It's still in the morning.
All right, so you're constantly Batman is what you're telling me. All right, well, we have another great podcast set up for you guys. So thank you guys, as always, for watching and listening as you join us on the various platforms that we're on at the moment. And speaking of platforms, you can always find us on anchor.fm, which actually God bless you. Did you sneeze?
No, that was a cough.
Oh, okay, good. Well, you can always find us on anchor.fm, which it's kind of funny because these past few weeks, guys, I've actually been saying anchor.com. So I've probably been sending people to some completely different websites.
Oh, it's not anchor.com?
Anchor.com, right? But you can actually find us on anchor.fm, and you can also find us on Spotify by looking up the D-Pad Connect podcast. So that's D-Pad, D-Pad, and then Connect podcast. You can find this on there. But as always, if you want the latest and most recent episodes, Anchor is the way to go. For some reason, there's a little bit of a delay whenever we upload to Anchor. It takes a little bit to get to Spotify, but it does make it there. It's like the little train that could. It goes chugga chugga choo choo and makes it. So you can still find us on Spotify. That was a good one, right, Nate? That was good.
Yeah, I saw a train.
I inspired everybody. Well, you can also find us on Google Podcasts. So actually, if you type in D-Pad Connect podcast on Google, you should be able to find this on there. And last but not least, if you want to watch this in video format, you can find us on youtube.com, which we've been doing some pretty cool things as of last week's episode. So as we speak about all of our topics here today, our very own Brandon has been doing an amazing job at inserting video clips and nice pictures. I'm pretty sure he snuck a picture of himself with his phone number for the Christian Mingle website or something, but I saw that, Brandon. Don't blame me.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
It said, call me. But Brandon's been doing an amazing job with editing our videos, and I'm just so happy to have him on board. So I challenge you, go check it out. Challenge you. I always say challenge you, which is kind of funny. It feels like I'm really like getting aggressive about having somebody watch our YouTube video.
It's like, do it.
But I urge you, I implore you, I can use any other big words, but I do ask you, if you can support us, go on youtube.com, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and make sure that you really hit that thumbs up button. I sound like my daughter too, but you hit that thumbs up button and you like our video. It really helps us out a lot here at D-Pad, since we're just a very infant channel. We're a baby channel that's just getting its roots kind of dug deep in the YouTube world, but it would really, really help us if you can go ahead and like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, and you'll be treated by either Brandon's random photo inserted into the montage of clips, or you can actually watch our podcast and you know, have an idea of what it is that we're talking about whenever these trailers or these different pieces of footage are inserted into our videos. So you can find us on all those platforms. So we look forward to having you and meeting you there. And I said last but not least for the YouTube channel, but really last but not least comes in the form of our Facebook community, which we would love to have you join. Once again, no surprise here, but it's under D-Pad Connect. So feel free to join us there, and you can always find all of the links to every week's podcast on there, and it'll make your life much easier and not having to search for us on the web. So we have lots to talk about today. Last week was our E3 Aftermath extravaganza. I didn't add extravaganza to the title, but it was an extravaganza. It was an hour-packed episode, guys. I was able to talk for a whole hour while my wife just stared at me and was really telling me to shut up with her eyes. But but it was a really good episode. We had a lot of fun talking about everything at E3. And today we're going to take a few steps back. We're going to talk about a few different things, such as what have we been playing, reading, or watching. And before we get to that, we're also going to be talking about me and Brandon finally platinumed and beat Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which we loved.
Woo!
Yes.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you for the support. I love you, bro. And Nate is going to talk to us about his thoughts on the episode intermission for the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. What a mouthful. I don't know why Square Enix did that, but the PlayStation 5 version of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Nate has completed the episode where you play as Yuffie, which is called Episode Intermission, from what I looked up. But you're going to give us your thoughts on that, and we're going to end with what game would we and why? Because there's so many remakes getting released now. So maybe you'd like to know what we would like to get remade and play, and as to why. So let's go ahead and get it started, guys. Let's go around the room. What have you been watching, playing, or reading? I'll start with Brandon.
So I've been playing, well, obviously, you just said Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Amazing game. We'll get into that in a bit. What else have I been playing? I've been trying to get back into older games that I haven't beaten yet, like Dragon Age Inquisition. I've started so many characters. I think when I tried to start a new character, it said you've exceeded the 50 character person you can make or something like that.
How many characters have you started?
What?
I don't know. And then I went down the list. It was like the same name like over and over again, just different class. I was like, how many times did I do this?
It was like creating a username or like an email account.
Yeah.
But you have the same email account everywhere, so it's like Brandon Rose number 5 at Yahoo, and then Brandon Rose number 6. Like,
exactly. Yeah, so I deleted all those. So yeah, just trying to get back into those just to try to finally finish them, even though it's like I don't even know how many years old now. But yeah, and of course I've just shiny hunting and Pokemon Sword and Shield. Oh, Sword for me. That's like an everyday thing. I can always do that.
Well, yeah, we know, because we see you on Switch whenever I get on. Whenever I go play with Kaylee, I'm like, what's Brandon doing on? Oh, he's shiny hunting.
Yeah.
I haven't played my Switch in a while.
For hours.
Is that what I hear crying in the background, Nate? Is that what I hear crying for your attention? But Brandon, your shirt says it all, man. You're definitely Team Shiny.
Team Shiny.
Represent.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep, definitely.
Now, Brandon, did you get those Gigantamax, Squirtle, and Bulbasaurs that were released recently? There was like a little thing going around that you can get them through Mystery Gift.
Honestly, I didn't even know there was a thing, but actually I already have a shiny G-Max Squirtle and Bulbasaur, or I guess Blastoise and Venusaur.
Well, shame on me for not telling you sooner.
Well, I guess because they made it so much easier to not have to shiny hunt like the G-Max ones. You can just egg hunt the Squirtle or Bulbasaur, and on the second DLC, the Isle of Armor, you can give them some Max Soup, which gives them the ability to G-Max when they evolve. So they made it a lot easier to do that. So I took advantage of it.
Excuse me. You know what's funny about all of that, Brandon? And this is some of my Pokemon-related questions that I may or may not pepper in throughout this video, but I find it quite funny that you can still get a Pokemon to G-Max. Like, every Pokemon could Gigantamax, essentially. Every Pokemon, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, Gigantamax, no, only certain ones.
Dynamax. My apologies.
Yeah, it's like it's different, but it's weird.
Well, I think what gets me upset about the whole difference is and we've had this conversation plenty of times, and I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but or maybe I do. Maybe for just to hear your thoughts. I find it funny of how lazy Game Freak got with it, where you can get that little of a difference in between two things. And for Lapras, she can Dynamax, but the only thing different with the Gigantamax is she has like a melody of music going around her, and maybe a few little other things. And I'm like, really? I'm like, really? I was like, unless this song is in a one-hit KO everything.
Yeah. And I guess the only other difference is the signature moves they get when they G-Max.
Okay.
But other than that, like that's really nothing, or that's really all there is.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon. So I haven't played in a minute. There are two different versions of when they go big. The Gigantamax is what everyone can do, and the second one is when they change differently. That's like a special way of getting bigger, right?
Other way around. Gigantamax is the one that's only certain ones can do.
Nate had a better grasp of the concept than I did. I was like, they just get music melodies and start swirling around, and there's a cloud over them, and boo. I sound like such a Gen 1er. But, Brandon, I can agree with you, man. You're definitely Team Shiny, bro. So anything else other than Pokemon you've been playing? Reading, watching? All of the above?
Honestly, well, I guess watching, not Pokemon, but I started to watch My Hero Season 5 on...
It's for you, Brandon.
In dub, of course.
Applause. Let's step to the side so everybody can see my Spider-Man stuff.
You might want to hold the applause because I watched it in dub. So.
Okay, you watched it. We already got over this.
Okay. Yeah, so it's pretty good. I see some people commenting saying it's getting kind of boring, but I guess a lot of people say that, but they also say it gets better like later on. I don't know how true that is, but I'm liking it so far.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Actually, you know what? I'll save it for when I get to my stuff, but I can talk about it a little bit more on my end once we get everybody across the board to speak. Sorry, I got the hiccups. My apologies, guys.
There you go.
All right. Well, Beans, is that all you got? Is that all you got?
Yeah, I think so. Not really much other than shiny hunting and Rift Apart and old games.
Okay, sounds like a good deal, man. All right, Nate, talk to us, brother. What have you been watching, reading, or playing?
All right, I'll start with what I'm watching since I've only been watching one thing so far. This anime called Food Wars.
Nice.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny, and it's kind of like getting me inspired to start like cooking again and whatnot, instead of just stick to like pre-made meals and whatnot. I actually want to like start things from scratch and start making. The other day I made an omelet. I haven't made in a while, but I cut up the peppers and I cooked that, and then I cut up the bacon and I cut up the sausage and I heat that stuff up differently. Then I make the omelet. Then I add into the pot. Then I add the ingredients and then doctor it up that way.
You made me hungry in just those few seconds that you just said all of that. Now me and Brandon have to go make an omelet right after this meeting. We're gonna have dinner, brunch times 2.
And it's in Food Wars. It's just a break from like all the like mainstream anime, or I won't say mainstream, but like what I'm used to watching when it comes to fantasy, action, mystery, all this. I mean, there's still some action in this, but it's not like too exaggerated like One Piece or Bleach or Boruto or animes like that. So it's just like kind of like a nice break for everything else to build up, so I can binge watch the other shows.
Nice.
And as far as gaming, Impact and Destiny.
You said Genshin Impact?
Those are 2 games I've been playing. Genshin Impact I really like for its open world and its story and its mechanics of the game. Destiny, I've just been playing that since year 1 so this came out, so it's just a game I like to play. That's first shooter. Sometimes meet up with others to do quests and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what I've been doing.
So Genshin Impact and Destiny, all right. Pretty good combination. I know you've always been on those since both of them have released. Like you said, You definitely been a day one player, so I commend you, because I think me and Brandon played Destiny for like a month and we were done. And every time we try to get back into it with you, Nate, it's more like, hey Nate, bring us through all of this stuff so we can get legendaries. Carry us. And then we get to like the good stuff and we're like, yeah, no, we're done. But good to hear, Nate. I'm glad you're enjoying all of those things that you're reading, that you're watching and playing. So I think for me, I have a little bit of all three. So Brandon, I'm on the same boat as you. I've been going back to older things. I obviously platinum Rift Apart, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So that's all done. I've been going back to Final Fantasy VII Remake, the PS5 version of it, because I want to beat it. I told you guys before we started, I even brought it down to easy mode just to be able to just get through the story, because I just want to know what the story is, since I do like Final Fantasy games. Yeah. And other than that, I actually started playing Breath of the Wild again because I didn't know that my file had been deleted.
Oh, really?
So I'm sitting there and I'm only at like 4 hearts. I'm starting over, but I'm trying to take my time this time because I noticed that the first time when I had gotten the Switch at launch and I started playing this, I noticed that I ran through the game and I missed a bunch of stuff. Like, for example, there's dragons flying around and I never got any of the dragon scales or anything. And I would see them and I was like, what is Shenron doing here? That was my first thought. What's Shenron doing here, and where are the Dragon Balls? I mean, that was Goku had to be somewhere, but I was gonna call Brandon, beat the game now because Goku's here. But I've been going back to old things, like you said, Brandon. It's what's been keeping me entertained. Scarlet Nexus, which is one of my games that I want to play this year, releases on Friday, so I'll be playing that. That releases between that and those 2 other games I mentioned. But other than that.
Friday?
This Friday, yeah. So, other than that, I've just been waiting for the Skyward Sword remake, which is, or HD up-res, whatever you want to call it, what Nintendo did to it, made it shinier, 10 times shinier. Woohoo! But it's one of the Zelda games I never got to beat or play, so I'm looking forward to actually playing that in July. But that's what I've been playing. As far as what I've been reading, I've actually been reading this, so I'm gonna grab it really quick. And I'm gonna Vanna White it, if you guys know who Vanna White is. She's like a hand model. I've been reading this. It is the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Legendary Edition. So it is, I have the Majora's Mask one too, which are my 2 kind of favorite games. This is my all-time favorite game of all time, is Ocarina of Time. But it's pretty much manga form for the story.
Oh, it is the manga form. Oh,
yeah. So it's a manga form. So Link actually talks in this, which is kind of funny. But it is really good. It's a good read. I recommend it. It's only like $10, $12 for the Legendary Edition, which it's just a better looking cover. And it comes with the whole manga in 1 volume, because you can buy them separately too, from what I kind of noticed. But I'm reading that and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying a different perspective to the Ocarina of Time story, and seeing how the manga kind of broke down certain things that I would have wanted answers to in playing the Nintendo 64 game. But I'm reading that, and as far as watching, I am currently watching Loki. So I'm not going to give too much on that because some of us haven't watched it here, and I would love to talk about it once it's all finished. But me and my wife are enjoying it. I do recommend it for those of us who are invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, which, Brandon, what is the MCU? Is that what the MCU stands for? You remember that? We'll leave it at that, Brandon. I don't want YouTube coming after you. But if you're invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I do recommend it. So far, it's been pretty good. I don't think anything's been able to top WandaVision so far. For some reason, WandaVision is just really good. But I am looking forward to how Loki develops. It's only 4 episodes, not much more development to go. We're on episode 3 now, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing how that goes. So, yeah, that's what I've been playing, watching, and reading, guys. So, without further ado, Brandon, it is our time to shine, and then Nate's right after.
Yes.
But we are going to talk about our Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart review. So, Brandon, let's start off with one word. What did you think about it?
Amazing.
Okay, you took my word.
For a second, I was afraid. I was like, "Am I missing a word that's specific to the game?"
Outstanding.
Okay, there we go. That's
no. You're good. Amazing was good. No, I was joking with you. Yeah, Brandon, this game, man. So there's only very few games that are able to capture me the way. Wow, I take a sip out of my big bubba over here, whatever this thing is. Everybody's thinking that I have like a whole water bubbler in my hand right now.
I mean, you might as well.
Might as well, right? Might as well. But gotta stay hydrated, guys. Gotta stay hydrated. Gotta keep the skin smooth. I'm such a dad with my jokes. But Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was such a... And the truck is on my end, guys. Just letting you go, listeners. If you hear Kawasaki's or whatever, little motorbikes flying around, that's on my end. But it's one of those games. So for me, this is the type of gamer I've become. And Nate disappeared completely into Midgard. But
he can sit there.
No, I had to talk. I had to answer my mother for a second.
No, you're good. You're good. I thought the air quality had finally taken you out.
Even this air quality, it's fine over here.
I don't know, man. Look at those fumes coming out of those towers back there.
Oh, that's just the sky. Really, there ain't no one up there.
There's nothing to worry about.
No one up there. So, for me, the type of gamer that I've become in being a father of two and having so little time sometimes to really focus on much, especially when school's in session, but you guys know we all kind of do life together. We're all very involved in each other's lives. But for Ratchet and Clank to do what it did to me, which is, it's what happens whenever I get hooked on a game. It's what, and especially Insomniac games, because all of my Marvel Spider-Mans have done that. I mean, you guys know I love Spider-Man. I mean, no hint, not too much to question back there. But I flew through it. I played it twice. I platinumed it. I got all the trophies. I inspired Brandon to get platinums in it, which he normally doesn't do, and he just got inspired to do it. I hope Nate does the same because it's such an easy platinum on Miles. But Insomniac has such a way of just capturing me with their video games. And Ratchet and Clank for me, and Brandon, feel free to chime in whenever you want to, but Rift Apart, man, the comedy... I don't know, me and you just laughed at Dr. Nefarious quite a lot.
The Ratchet and Clank comedy never gets old.
Yeah, it doesn't. And it's like the typical like Looney Tune comedy that you see, right? It's like stuff that you would see like on Cartoon Network or something, but it's it's like, and I'll mention this because it's really not a spoiler, but the moment me and you like a lot, Brandon, where he was like, all right, time to hit you with a wrench, and Dr. Nefarious just squeals like a girl. He's like, don't hit me. Like, he's like over there shaking for his life because he's so tired. It's like he has post-traumatic stress from getting hit by that wrench so many times. But I mean, the PlayStation 5 definitely does this game justice. It shows you. I mean, and Brandon played on a non-4K TV. I have a 4K TV, and it didn't even matter what you played on. The game just looks beautiful no matter what. The loading times were quick, right, Brandon?
Oh, yeah,
just
absolutely.
the riffs and everything that you opened up, everything was just really quick, really smooth. As soon as you got to the main screen, actually, as soon as you popped the game in and it booted up, it just went right to the start screen.
Yeah.
For me, it was really quick.
Yeah.
The colors are very vibrant. I loved everything that popped from it. The story captured me. Rivet is such a good character. I really enjoyed Rivet. I really enjoyed the story it was trying to tell with, and I can't say too much else, right, Brandon? Because one of the characters isn't really revealed.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but overall, the weapons felt good too. Like how the DualSense, like when you would shoot the certain guns and stuff like that, like you had to pull the trigger all the way down, or if you did it halfway, it did something different. That was pretty sick.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed how just everything about it. I mean, we platinumed it in 4 days, Brandon? I think we went through it, and you even played challenge mode. You even went farther than me. I just platinumed it and I was done, but you played challenge mode and got all the weapons to level 10. Is there a big difference when you get them to 10? Do they do something completely different?
And I think they just really. I think the biggest difference I saw was the well, the shield gun really, where it reflects the projectiles.
Yes, yes.
I think everything else really just did more damage or shot out more of the ammo. I think that was really about it.
Okay, yeah, that's the same thing I kind of noticed because you did 10, I did level 5, and I know they kind of transform into something different.
Yeah.
But it feels like that's really what happens is the quality of the power gets a little bit more increased, so you're able to hit people harder. Like the Enforcer, which is one of my favorite guns, instead of shooting just one shockwave, it did a continuous like full blast, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like
I even liked the Kamehameha weapon.
Oh,
I call it that.
That was my favorite one.
the interplanetary disruptor or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I think it
something
was
like
called.
that. I gotta look it up again.
Yeah, no, it was a crazy name because they have these cool names for all of the guns.
Mm-hmm.
But that one, when you finally upgraded it, and it would do the full beam, and then once it finished, it would just blow up whatever it hit.
Mm-hmm.
Was really good. You have the Gloves of Doom. Unfortunately, Mr. Zircon wasn't back, which I was sad about, but you got to see him anyway.
Yeah.
Mr. Fungi was all right. I don't think he's Mr. Zircon.
Yeah.
I don't think he can beat Mr. I don't think anybody can beat Mr. Zircon as like a companion you can summon.
Yeah, he was the best.
He was the best, especially when he threatened you. That was always funny. He's like a little robot just destroying everything and threatening you.
But sorry, real quick. Just,
no, go ahead.
Well, speaking of Zircon, I loved Zircon Jr. when they would explain the guns. It was the funniest thing. Like, it's how he was just over the top with everything.
Yeah, because he had that squeaky voice, and I think it sounded like Invader Zim's voice, right? I think it was Invader
it
Zim's.
definitely did.
Funny show.
That's probably why it was funny.
Yep, that's why it was funny. And Mrs. Zircon kind of like sneaking off to the side because it's funny because there's a little audio log that describes to you why they kind of did what they did. They separated themselves from all that. Mm-hmm. But Mrs. Zircon was always kind of in love with still selling weapons and stuff like that because she just did that. So the Rhino was really good in this game. I loved opening up portals and just dropping huge trucks on people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first time I ever saw that weapon though.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in every game. It's usually the secret weapon that you can get. That it's the strongest weapon in every game.
I probably never got it in the other ones then. I probably never played it to the end.
Yeah. I think I only got it in the PSP version of Ratchet and Clank, which was, I forget what it was called. I think it's Going Commando or something. No, Going Commando I think was a PS2 game, but it's one of them. Yeah, and it is, Nate, you're laughing, but it really was. They had titles that kind of made fun of things like that.
You said Going Commando, I said, oh, that's funny.
Well, the next one after that was Full Frontal Assault. So
I forgot.
Oh, maybe I should pick up this
and then
game.
I think one of the other ones was Into the Nexus. I'll let you borrow it, Nate. Remind me tomorrow. I'll definitely let you borrow a Ratchet and Clank. I think you'll enjoy it a lot. You'll love it.
You definitely will.
Yeah. Brandon, any final thoughts? I know I kind of spoke a lot about it last time, so I want to kind of give you the space to speak about it more.
No, you pretty much covered it all. It was such a great game, great looking game, graphics wise, and all the characters were very engaging, very funny, hilarious, and like you said, the weapon system was so good. I don't know which one my favorite weapon was. Usually I have at least one favorite out of everything, but I loved all of the weapons all around this time around. Even the ones that kind of just delayed them.
Like the topiary one, I love that one.
Yeah, that was such a good one. And when you upgrade the ice one, and it's like shoots out little ice crystals or icicles, that was such a good weapon too. But honestly, nothing really. Well, not nothing, but all around, it was a pretty well made game, and like little hiccups here and there, but nothing like to destroy it or anything.
I had one hiccup that I don't think I got to tell you about this, Brandon, but I had one hiccup where the game, for the glitch puzzles that you have in the game, the game thought that I had completed all of them before getting to the very last one. So for some reason, it let me do one of the glitch games twice, and it let me fight the final boss in the glitch thing and everything. But it stopped me from getting the gold bolt that I needed, what required you to play another glitch game, because the game thought I had finished them all.
Huh.
So I had to reload an older save and go back about an hour. I think that was the only hiccup I experienced playing this game.
Oh,
But
wow.
other than that, it was such a great experience. I really have no complaints, and that wasn't even really a complaint because I was able to recover so quickly from it
Yeah.
because they save so many backup states, which it makes it easier for you to jump into an old save and kind of jump back in.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I really enjoyed also, and I'll end with this, which I think was my favorite weapon. It's two things. My favorite weapon was the electric shooter that kind of targeted them and zapped everybody.
Yep.
Because halfway through, you'd think one of the enemies was going to get you, and he'd just start shaking, doing
doing the Harlem
shaking.
Shake.
Yep, the Harlem Shake. But Rivet has become one of my new favorite Sony characters in the Ratchet and Clank world. I love Rivet. Jennifer Hale, I think that's her name. My apologies, but she does a lot of big voices. She does female Shepard from the Mass Effect games, and she brought Rivet to life. And I really enjoyed her Rivet story and just everything about Rivet. And it's funny, I have a pop Funko of Ratchet and Clank behind me.
Oh, do you?
You can see Ratchet right there.
Oh, yeah.
Clank's on the other side. But I really need a Rivet pop Funko to complete the trifecta.
Yeah.
Her and another character that I can't mention because it's very story spoiler, but yeah.
Yeah, but
But anywho.
I won't spoil it, but I like the twist that they had with her and that character.
Yes, I do like that as well.
Yeah,
I did like that as well.
That's all I'll say.
Yep, that's all I'll say, right? But that is our full thoughts on Ratchet and Clank. If we were to give it a pretty much a score here, which we're not even credible to give anything a score, but if we're being funny and giving it a score, I think I'd give it a 5 out of 5. It's really one of my top games of the year so far. Yeah,
Absolutely.
What do you think, Brandon? What'd you give it?
Honestly, probably about the same thing, maybe a little less, just because this was a little small glitches that happened to me. But like I said, there weren't really. Maybe if I had to guess, it would probably be 4.9 out of 5.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Indifference. I like it.
Yeah. Not too much, but it was still the game made up for it really with just how well it was done.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you 100%, man. All right. Well, moving on to the next review within this podcast, or thoughts, is our brother, the resident of Midgar, who ironically played the new DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake on his PS5, and also happens to live in the very same place where they created this game. So, air quality aside, I'll bury this joke now. But Nate, give us your thoughts on how it was to play with Yuffie. Break down the characters for us, if you can name a few of them without going into spoiler territory. But go ahead.
Yeah, what was interesting about this one is because even though it's Final Fantasy VII Remake, what's interesting about with Yuffie's side, she actually, they bring light into, they show a different side of Avalanche, because if you've played the original Final Fantasy VII, Avalanche is just with Barrett, Tifa, Wedge, Biggs, and Jesse. I think I might be forgetting someone else, and usually that's all of Avalanche they introduced in Final Fantasy VII in the original. But this one in Remake, it's a big organization. And the funny thing is, the one that Barrett is in charge of, they're like a splinter group. They're like that. They're like kind of like that black sheep of the family they don't talk about. They're part of Avalanche, but everyone's just like, yeah, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. They do their thing, and they do their thing, but they kind of like work together. But it's like, yeah, they do their own thing. And Yuffie, of course, is working with the other. Working with the main branch. So it's interesting. You don't interfere with them, with Cloud or them. You may see them in the background, but if you've played the game, the reason why it's Remake, I don't know what these are. They haven't explained them, but I'm gonna say it's the creators with the Remake. There's these things in the game that stop you from doing like the original stuff in the original Final Fantasy. So, say you had a chance to actually interfere with the other story, some force or some unnatural force will push you away from it, or the character will say, that's weird. I can't go that way. But it's like, the door's not opening, or where's that weird wind? And it'll push you away. So that was interesting because you had an opportunity to go into the bar and go into their meeting, but you're stopped by some unknown force when you're controlling with Yuffie. So it was interesting, like they explained. There was stuff going on while in the original game, but it was funny, Yuffie was like around in the background. Like, say, for example, an explosion happened over there, and Yuffie heard it from over there. When you run over to go check it out, a big crowd is in your way, and you can't get to the main characters of what they're doing. And then you're told, let's not provide attention to ourselves. Looks like Avalanche has already been here, so let's go around and meet up at the base with the other Avalanche members. So it was interesting to see that side of the story, and also she was the most interesting part was even when you're at the main story at the very end of the game, you can tell also so it's interesting how the first part of the game, how it ends, Yuffie was there, but just in another part of the building. When she was handling something else. Shinra is a shady corporatization. They have secrets under their secrets. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to go into spoiler, but she was dealing with a secret of Shinra that the original members, that the other members of Avalanche didn't even know about. So while they're dealing with like the main plot of the story, Yuffie was dealing with another secret part of the story. And because this is a remake, if you've played Divergis Cerebris, they already hinted this. If you played Vincent's game, standalone game, Divergis Cerebris, they brought in those enemies because, after the end of the movie, Final Fantasy events, at the event movie, and then when they go back to Midgard in Vincent's game, something opens from Shinra's basement. It was some secret soldier force that's always been training and always that, and since when the president died, his son didn't even know about it, and they've just been running their own thing, and that's why they came out in Vincent's game. So what they're doing now is they're using the enemies from Vincent's game, the main boss and another main boss, to fight Yuffie. So that was interesting, how they brought already in the Divergis Cerebris enemies that you don't even see at all in Final Fantasy VII unless it's in Vincent's game, and that's after the events of Final Fantasy VII. So that was interesting. And with Yuffie, her character dynamics, it was tricky to get used to because I just had a hard time dealing with her. I had a hard time aiming with her weapon because she throws her shuriken, that big star weapon. I just found that difficult and hard to maneuver. But once you throw it and then you can do some other attacks, she does these ninjutsu moves is what they're calling it, ninjutsu magic.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
So once I switched to that, it was easier to deal with. But it's just that it's hard to aim with her, honestly. I found it hard switching to targets, and then I found it hard switching targets to hit. If I wanted to hit that enemy over there, but for some reason I'm still stuck aiming at this enemy right here. So that's the only hard part I found with the dynamics. Because when I played the first part, I found it a lot easier switching the targets when I was playing in the main game. But now in this Yuffie DLC, I found it a little bit difficult, but I worked my way around it.
Gotcha.
But other than that, I like the game. I definitely like the story. Oh, the big part that I found with this one, I know people were complaining about the first game, how they botched the Shinra building with instead of blood. If you played the original version, or a PlayStation version, that bloody mess they leave in the Shinra building, especially when you find the dead president people were complaining about that. Huh?
Which isn't a spoiler, so you're good, because that happened in the original game.
It happened in the original. So instead, it was replaced with something else. It was it didn't give that horror film to it. When I was playing it myself the first time, I was excited to see that part, but then when they showed this non-part, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
I think it's because of license. I think it's because it has to go through. I could be wrong. I think it's because in order to sell so many, and they can sell it everywhere, they have to make it an age rating for everywhere. And I think if they went with that original bloody idea, they wouldn't have been able to sell it in China and make the sales that way. I think that's what I was looking at from when I was researching That's why there wasn't any blood or anything like that. Which I was like, oh well, they missed an opportunity with that. That would have been great. But that's what shocked me here in Yuffie, because throughout playing Part 1, I didn't really see any blood. I mean, you can tell when there was blood, but it wasn't like obvious. But with Yuffie, that's a different story. There was actually blood shown in hers, and that's what shocked me. And I said, oh, I didn't see that coming. So I hope they stay that route, because that definitely does give the game a lot more depth and feel to it, honestly. I mean, it wasn't exaggerated. It was just the right amount. Maybe that's why, because the Shinra one, even though it happened in the original, I still think they left that part out. But other than that, I was shocked, and I was satisfied and shocked with the ending, honestly. It felt short to me, but of course, I guess it's a DLC. But other than that, I think they ended it well, because it's a remake. People can't expect the ending of with the original, because you have to remember, keep in thought, it is called remake isn't the title of it. So I think it ended well. I was satisfied with the ending. A little bit sad with the new character they had. Not saying that he was bad or anything, just sad what happens. But I don't want to spoil that either. I'm saying the ending. I thought the ending was good. Definitely getting me psyched, and I hope the next game is a full package and not a DLC, because Yuffie, I enjoyed playing it that much, and I tried taking my time playing it, but I think I still kind of beat it quickly anyway. But I tried to stick my time and do like mini games here and there. But yeah, overall, I think it was a great game. I just didn't like the aiming I had to do with her when it came to her fights. But other than that, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. Only because of just that aiming part, but I definitely would recommend that game. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and seeing the character interactions. And Yuffie, I forget, she's actually young. I think she's like 16.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I think she's like the youngest of the group. I keep forgetting she is young, and you'll see that. She'll remind you how playful she is. But I got that sense in the original. I got that sense that she was kind of childish, but I had no idea she was that young. I thought she was closer to age with Cloud, but no, she's actually pretty young. Oh, that's right. I just remembered. It is Remake, and I don't even want to ruin. Everyone's already. So I don't want to ruin this part either. I mean, they even bring up Zack again from the guy that Cloud got the Buster Sword from.
Oh wow, they do.
His I guess you could say his friend.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot about that ending. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do next with Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
Now I'm just, oh man, I don't want to spoil it by going into the ending without that. So I'm gonna leave it at that and say, now that I think about it, we'll say a 9.8 out of 10. Now that I just remember the part with Zack. So we'll just leave it at there before I go into fanboy mode and just talk about everything. So we'll leave it at that.
Before you start spilling the beans. And just remember, you can't talk bad about anybody because you live in their city. So they can get you.
They know where you live.
Like where you live.
Good luck.
you see Nate pull out a Buster Sword of his own, but like, when did you join Soldier? Well, thank you, Nate, for your thoughts on the episode intermission for Yuffie. I'm also looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm replaying it now, so looking forward to seeing my final thoughts on everything once I play everything as well. And so guys, we have one topic of the show today, and it's a very simple one, but I know we can get long-winded because we talk about our favorite things. So I want to end the show today with, what game would you have remade? Because there's so many remakes being released right now. There's a rumored Dead Space one, which was going to be my original choice, but EA is supposedly rumored to be releasing more footage on that, or more information on that, on July 22nd for EA Play Live. But I do have another choice, and I have a few choices really, and I can talk about them briefly. But guys, let's go ahead and talk about what game will we want to be remade and why. And I will go ahead and go first as you guys compile your thoughts and, calm your excitement, because I know you guys are very excited. But straight off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and say because of how Nintendo did me dirty this year with the Zelda 35th anniversary. If you want to hear my full thoughts on that, go to the last episode, on episode 4.
I recall when I was editing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Brandon had to edit that whole rant, so think about how I felt. But listen, Ocarina of Time is always going to be one of my favorite games. There's a long story behind why I love it. I could talk about it on a different episode and more in depth. But there's been so much fan-made trailers and just gameplay made of Ocarina of Time in like a different type of engine that makes that game look so much more beautiful and to me blows Nintendo's vision of what they do out of the water sometimes. I just think Nintendo has to upgrade their technology, but I would really love to see Ocarina of Time updated to play on the Switch, and if the rumored Nintendo Switch Pro ever comes out, hopefully on that 4K, that'll be great. I would love a collection of that and Majora's Mask to play and to really be able to explore that world a lot more in depth. I just love Ocarina of Time. Like right now, you can insert one of those dream bubbles where it's just me like prancing to the field with a copy of Ocarina of Time. We're holding hands. But that's one of the games, obviously, straight off the bat that I can tell you I would love to see remade, just simply because I would love to see it updated with different mechanics, it updated with better graphics. And the game is one of those games that we can just always go back to and play with no issue, but I would just love to see it remade a little bit better. My next one is going to be the original Resident Evil, which I'm hoping Capcom eventually does that, because Resident Evil 4 is already going to get remade in their current engine, just how they did Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. But I never played the original. Guys. So for those of you watching on YouTube land, I apologize. I've never played the original. And I still remember one scene, and I remember staying over at my cousin's house, right? And he was the type of kid that always had a lot of PlayStation games. He just always got PlayStation games for Christmas. So he had a bunch of games he never played that they would just get him to get him. And I remember going through his shelf, and I'm like, what's this? What's that? And I remember I took a whole Saturday just to play everything he had, because I'd never seen a lot of those games. And I remember I inserted Resident Evil, and I started playing. He was like, oh, man, I'm scared of that game. Like, I tried playing it, but I couldn't get into it. And we're like maybe 10 or 11. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, let's just play it. And then I'm walking down the hallway in the game, and one of the first scenes is when you finally go down the corridor. Remember, it was those tank controllers, that's what they're called, where you have to hit forward, and then to turn, you have to hit right, and then hit forward again.
Oh, yeah.
So, as I'm running, I'm like this, like running into walls and stuff. I'm like trying to run away, can't do anything. And I remember going into the hallway, and there's a zombie right there. And I remember they played the cinematic where the zombie, like somebody's on the floor, you don't know what he's doing, and then you hear the crunching. And then he turns around and it's like, oh, it's a zombie. And all I knew how to equip, I think he had a weapon. I don't know if he did, whoever you're playing as. I didn't pick Jill. I think I picked Chris. Or I think it's Chris, yeah. So I think I picked Chris. And I don't think I knew how to equip the weapons, because it was old Resident Evil, so it was a lot of work. I think you had to hit like 50 buttons just to equip one weapon. But I remember having the knife, and I'm sitting there just like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Stop it. Stop getting close. Back up. The power of Christ compels you. I'm like trying to fight the guy off, and I got chomped on like 50 times, and finally I took him out. And I remember I'm leaving, and we played a little bit longer, and then I got to the scene where you're going down the hallway, and then the dogs come in through the window, but you don't expect them. And mind you, once again, to aim or to do anything, you're like up, down, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you eventually. Oh no, he bit my kneecap. Oh no, I'm dead. So I would love to see that game remade, how they did Resident Evil 2 and 3. Resident Evil is one of my favorite franchises. I love Resident Evil. And what made me want to replay the other ones when they got remade was Resident Evil 4, because I just loved Resident Evil 4, which is being remade now, so I don't have to worry about that. But Capcom has done a really good job with their remakes for Resident Evil 2 and 3. So I really enjoy being able to see what their new engine is able to do for a lot of these games. Because Resident Evil 2 was perfect. It was such a good game. It was such a good remake. So I really enjoyed that. So as for a third one, I was trying to think of a third one. And like I said, Dead Space is already rumored to supposedly being brought back.
Yeah.
So I can't say much about that. But you know what's a game that people don't talk about too often? Because Donkey Kong gets no love.
I think I know.
Donkey Kong 64.
That was gonna be one of mine.
Go ahead, Brandon. You talk about it. I agree. No, go ahead. Go for it, brother. Go for it.
No, just that game was. I can't even describe it. It was just so much fun to play as a kid, and I don't think I ever actually beat it. I don't think I did either. Yeah, because I can't remember the final boss.
None of us did. So, funny story, Brandon, before you keep going. Funny story, right? I remember, you guys remember Blockbuster, the one down the street from where you live, Nate? The one that used to be right down there.
The sign's still there.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, the sign's there, it's just nothing's in it, but the logo, you can, if you grow up, you say, oh, that's Best Buy. It doesn't say it. The ticket's even gone. The whole thing is in the middle. Just the outline shape.
Yeah.
The ticket is there.
Blockbuster.
And you know, it's like, yeah.
If I could get a cologne that smelled like Blockbuster, I would wear it. Blockbuster, I can still remember the smell that you would get when you walked in, like of candy and like brand new videotapes being in there and video games. And I still remember the cases. So I remember that they were infamous for charging late fees all the time if you returned something too late. And I remember, and this is a quick story for how I ended up owning the actual Donkey Kong game. I remember my dad rented it on a Tuesday. My mom woke us up at 6 o'clock in the morning so that I can actually play before school. That was like one of the coolest moments in life. So she actually woke me up so that I could play. She was like, hey, I know you didn't get to play last night. Why don't you wake up early? You get to play now before you go to school because you have like an hour and some change before you have to get ready. I was like, okay. So I woke up and I remember playing and I was like, oh, this is awesome because I love Donkey Kong Country and I owned most of them and I just only beat Donkey Kong Country, the first one though. And I get this game and it's awesome. It's amazing, especially because the Nintendo 64 is still brand new, right? So a lot of us are into it. And I remember my dad it finally came the time that he had to return the game. And he went with the game and a movie that he had rented, and he went to go dispute some charges regarding some stuff he was getting charged late fees for that they weren't late. Because Blockbuster used to send those little notices to the house to open, like, hey, you're late on this. So he went and they were like, hey, we're so sorry, you just rented these, obviously they're not late, you're bringing them back on time, so how about this, how about you get to keep everything you just rented and we call it even. So I got a Donkey Kong 64 for free. Wow. With the Rumble pack and everything, with the expansion pack. Remember the expansion pack?
Oh yeah, the expansion 64? Pack. Yeah.
So that's my story how I got it. I'm sorry, I just get so excited about this stuff. But Brandon, talk to me, man. Tell me about why you want it to be remade.
Well, honestly, it's just such a nostalgic game. Like when you think about it, because this like when you think about a classic, like Nintendo game, Donkey Kong 64 is like, I think one of the first ones that a lot of people think of. Of course, it's Super Smash Bros, but that's been remade already.
Yeah.
And
push back for land.
Yeah. and of course, like was a Super Mario 64, but they kind of brought it back, but at the same time they didn't.
Yeah.
But
that was lazy.
Yeah, it's like when you think about it, it's like wow, these camera controls are really bad. Like I just didn't complain about them until now.
I can still hear the noise in my head. The
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, because that was like, yeah. Well, plus, like I said, because I never beat it, so I would love to actually beat it, and with updated graphics and everything, and yeah. That's really as well for Donkey Kong 64. That's for me anyway. Those are my reasonings.
I remember, and I have to agree with you, Brandon. It was a really tough game because Donkey Kong games, nobody really knows this, but Donkey Kong games are kind of tough. Yeah. Like they really kind of are. Mm-hmm. But I remember playing it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Don't give me bad memories, man. But it's funny because I played with all of the Kongs after you free them. Remember, because you have to free them from every single world you kind of go to.
Yeah.
And Chunky Kong was one of my favorites, but I remember, yep, that one right there. Yep.
Bad. Yep. Oh man. Listening.
It's all right.
It's camera quality.
Yeah, it's Midgar, man. Quality and stuff. But all right, I promise it's dead now. It's dead now. But I remember playing with Chunky Kong, and there was this firefly that you fought because some of the bosses you had to fight them twice. And I remember I used to get freaked out with, I think her name was Trixie, because it wasn't Dixie. It was like the one with the ponytails. It was the girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
There was a Jack in the Box that you have to fight with her.
Oh,
and I remember that thing used to always freak me out, and I could never beat it.
I remember that.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there
you go. Yeah, no, I got post-traumatic stress disorder now. I'm PTSD. Yeah, I'm feeling it. But yeah, no, Brandon, any other games that you have?
Yeah, the other one I was thinking of, well, obviously a lot of the Pokemon games are still being remade, so that's kind of, all those are kind of off the list. But the one that came to mind that I think a lot of people forgot about, it was on the GameCube, Kirby's Air Ride. I don't know if anyone played that.
Was that the racing game?
Yeah, with Kirby and like Meta Knight and like, well, I guess all the other Kirby
characters. I never got into that. Yeah, I remember now. They're on those boards.
That game was such a good party game when we had it. It was just so much. It was so chaotic every time we played it, but it was so much fun. Because you get the power ups and then you like slicing people up with the sword power, burning people with the fire power. Like, I guess kind of like a Kirby version of Mario Kart, if you think about it.
Yeah, except you can swallow up a black hole and beat everybody with it because you're Kirby.
Yeah, and if you get like the 3 pieces of one of the 2 special vehicles, you go like super
that's
fast.
what they used in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, those 3. Yeah, actually, I think it's just the one. Yeah. So I couldn't think of anything else besides that one and the Pokemon games, of course.
Oh, I mean, I can give both of you guys one because I know all of you have played this game and you guys enjoy it as much as I do. But Sonic Adventure 2.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Is that what?
I was thinking that.
You can control Knuckles, Tails, Sonic.
Yep.
That's right. Okay.
No, that's
Shadow was there too. No.
So that was the one where you played either the Eggman story, so it was Eggman, Shadow, or Rogue.
And Rouge.
Rouge, yeah. And then on the other side, it was Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
Yeah, and like Tails had the little robot.
The same thing with Robotnik. They both use robots.
Yeah.
They had to fight each other.
Melee.
Yeah.
Right.
There's such good memories with that game, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Chow Garden, man. I hear that in my head right now.
I spent so much time
there. Oh, yes, with the Chows. I was able to get I think I was able to get both the Angel and Demon one.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Sonic and Shadow one, and definitely got the Demon and the Angel one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was kind of messed up how you had to get the Demon one. Then you have to chuck it across the room and throw it against something.
I don't remember. I just remember what it looks like. And maybe that's why I only remember what it looks like.
Yeah. There was a Tails one too. There was pretty cool ones. There was a lot of really cool ones. I really enjoyed the Chow breeding and stuff like that. Because it was funny because when I had gotten that game, I got it on Dreamcast originally, and unfortunately I didn't play like the cool one until GameCube when I had borrowed it from a friend. Because we used to play it all the time. Because remember there was those versus things where you could play the levels against each other and stuff. And
yeah,
that was pretty cool. And then come on, Brandon used this song the other day on one of his Instagram. It has one of the best opening levels.
Oh my goodness!
Not only opening level but song, which is City Escape.
Yes.
Oh yes, that was fun with the not snowboarding, but the skating down with that.
I like to play that little metal piece from the helicopter.
Part, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that'll be good.
Helicopter. Yeah, it was a helicopter. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Brandon, if people are watching this on YouTube, they're gonna see a little clip of that. They have to.
Oh, you gotta put that in there. Yeah.
I'll put like a little bit because I think if we put like over 10 seconds, it'll be copyright. But
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
Well, you can always draw it.
Yeah.
This is a ramp.
It'll just be a screenshot of the paint in the computer.
It's Sonic. Instead of Sonic, it's Sonic. All right, Nate. What games do you have that you want remade?
Well, this one's obvious because it's already been remade. But honestly, playing it, I would really, and I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. If they could just bring back Final Fantasy VII exactly how it was, changes nothing, storyline and everything. That I think. I know it said remake, so I wasn't expecting it to be exactly the same, but I would really like to see everything in there. Like you can play the original, and you can play the other one side by side, and the movies in the movie cinematics should match up with exactly just better graphics. I mean that. And also, I mean, but that one's, I can go on and on with that. But another game I never got to finish because I rented it, Mega Man Legends, and I even forgot what system it was on. I think it was on the 64. I played it on
PlayStation.
Mega Man Legends.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I keep looking every other day. I was looking up on the Switch. Maybe they got it. Maybe they did it and they just didn't say anything. And then I was hoping, maybe they brought it. And I'm always searching online. It's like, will this ever have a remake? Will this ever remake? How can I contact someone? I need to contact Nintendo. Remake this game. I never got to finish it.
That's right.
Now we got the 5. I'm like,
that.
no, but it's not backwards compatible, right? For the PlayStation 1 games. And then I'm looking on PlayStation Store. Maybe it's there. Maybe it's not on Nintendo. Maybe it's there. Nope, it isn't.
Well, it's kind of funny you say that, Nate, because that's a game I think I didn't beat for the Mega Man games either, but it's funny because it was another game that you had to run with those same controllers I talked about with Resident Evil. You had to...
Yeah.
It was kind of, it's funny because I remember every time I think of that game, I think of like the first boss I did, and you have to take out this big robot. It's take out this big huge robot, and you're fighting in the city, and you do it, and the better you do it with less like collateral damage is good. And every time I did that, the city was always destroyed, or like, the city was probably 80% destroyed after it finally took on the robot. Because at the end, it's like, mission complete. It's like, yeah, I got the robot, but 80% of the city got destroyed from that battle when you're not supposed to, because I kept hiding behind buildings to dodge the attacks.
Nate's responsible for like 80% of whatever Mega Man City is to be evicted.
It was like you see those guys like mission complete. I was like, yeah, but I got the robot. It's like one of those things. It's like one of those things. Even from when the Spider-Man Adventures, when he was being trained under Shield, kind of, where he says, where they finally beat the boss. He's like, you need to work on collateral damage. He's like, what? What are you talking about? He was shooting there. I was dodging that. This and that. And the Fury's like, listen, bang, just shot one thing. The guy was getting away. Shield, bang, got him. Less collateral damage. Spider-Man was just like, okay, that was pretty cool. Collateral damage, yes. That's one thing I learned when you got to play that game. I think that's how you get graded in that game. And that's definitely one game I would love to see them remake so I could actually play. Because I forgot how far I got into the game, but I would really love to play that game over. And one other game, too. I don't think you guys have ever heard of it. I actually didn't know it was an anime for it until I played the game. Then my dad thought he bought another game for it, but he actually ended up buying an anime. He actually ended up buying one of the anime episodes, and then that's how I got into it. A game called Orphan.
Ah, yeah, remember
about a sorcerer. Yeah, the reason why I would love to see them remake that game and add on more to it, because when you beat the game, you have no idea why that, because you're on an island and you're on this island. You're on a ship trying to get somewhere, and you jump on the ship, and of course you got these two little midgets that are like trolls, Falcon and Gordon. So you get on the ship, but they mess it up. So I think you weren't supposed to even get on that ship, but thanks to them, they messed it up because that ship keeps taking people and bringing them to this island, and it's the same people that keeps going to that island, but somehow get new people to go with them without them knowing. So you play through.
I'm sorry. The way you described it. So what is it, like these small dwarf things that accompany you?
Yeah, they're small. I think they are kids, but I call them trolls because when you see them, I mean, they don't look like trolls, but when you see them and interact with them, they're like little annoying little trolls. Their interaction with them is funny because No, Vulcan. Vulcan is the one who's like so full of himself, and he calls Orphan and he calls Orphan like his slave. And I forgot what happened, the contract that happened between them. I forgot who owes who, but Vulcan pretty much treats Orphan, the main character, like he's a slave, something like that. And Orphan gets so pissed at him, he's always blasting him or kicking him off, or you see him throwing him. He's always chugging him. And poor Dorton, his brother, who wears glasses, is always there trying to like buff the situation. Like, Dorton, it's like, Vulcan, don't get him mad. You know he's a sorcerer. He's gonna blast us again. He's like, I don't care. You say that to my faces. This little small dude, and Orphan's just pretty much kicks him. Like, he's like a little chihuahua, and Orphan's like that huge big bulldog. He's just like, that. I would love them to remake that game and also continue it, because when you go through the game about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, yeah, you go through the game 3 times, but with 3 different characters. You're still always Orphan, but say there's this woman that's a dancer, and you help her through her story, and there's this soldier, I guess this mercenary, and you help him through this story, and there's this small kid, and you help him through his story, and then once you beat all 3 of those, then you go to the main, the main boss, where for some reason Orphan can tell, because when he finally gets off the island on the ship, all of a sudden some light appears, and then he finds himself like in this dark space, and it says, "Would you like to start over again?" And you have no choice but to click yes, and then you choose another character, and then it repeats until he finally gets back onto the island, and he's like, "Okay, something's up," and now he's with Cleo and Magic, his two companions, and they find out something's up with this island. Let's go. So then you finally get to the main. They had a map, because each story ended. You got an item, and then once you go through all those 3 items go together, and it forms a map to the center of the island. Then you finally run into this egg-looking thing, which happens to be the boss of this huge machine. And then once you beat it, you're actually finally able to get off the island, off the ship, get on the ship. And it's interesting because when you're playing the game, it's the same villains and it's the same people and villains you interact with. Their roles are just switched. Like, say that old woman was actually a good person. Then the next story, she ends up being the main villain, and then the third one, it was another person who you've also seen. But it's interesting. They kept using the same characters, but they were just put in different roles. So it was like someone putting on a play. Honestly, someone watching it from above. And the ending was they never explained who made that boss, because it was a machine, and for some reason it was living off people's memories. Like, it would bring people to that island to live off their memories on there, and then once they couldn't make it, once they were like about to die off, it would send a message to go get others to bring them to that island, so they can stay on that island to keep repeating and repeating and repeating. Got off the ship. I don't even know what happened to the other original members. Some died, stayed on the island, while some actually left with you. But yeah, there's just a big cliffhanger in that game where they never explain what was that island originally for, who made the machine, and why. It's just like Orphan was just saying, I don't know who made it. Now I even want to know who made it. So I guess they just left it up like that. I really like them to see them continue that, and also continue it again. It's just that game I really enjoyed playing, even if I did use a cheat code to beat the final boss.
Oh man! Well, make sure nobody in Midgar hears you saying that. No cheaters over there.
No, people always cheat. You just gotta get ahead.
Go to the wall market. But Nate, that's really good. I do remember you playing those. And I can see why you would want that one remade, because I remember, we've been best friends since we were kids, so I remember that was one of your first PS2 games, and I remember you always used to talk to me about it, so good to know you threw that one and brought that one back. I think for me, and I'll end with this before we end the podcast today, for me, I forgot to mention this one, but it reminded me after hearing you guys speak. It's called Jet Force Gemini. And it was a Nintendo 64 game that I got as just a random gift one day, and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think I was gonna like it. It was made by Rare, so the property is now owned by Microsoft. But I remember playing this game, and it's pretty much like a Ratchet and Clank, but in space, where you're fighting as 3 different characters, and each story is different, but you're fighting these weird looking bugs they look like ants really, but they're these weird looking bugs that are trying to take over the world, and you're pretty much a part of like a command center. And please feel free to look it up so you can see what I'm talking about. But the weapons were cool.
Jet Force what?
Jet Force Gemini. And it was one of those games where you played as a dog named Lupo, or you played as a kid with, he looked pretty cool, he had like a cool looking helmet, or his sister. So they were all kind of related. It was like a little family. And I thought it was really good. And I think if they remade that for like Xbox, because since Microsoft owns that now, I think that would be a really good game to play. It was really fun. So guys, thank you guys for sharing what you would like to see remade. What do you have, Nate? What's that all about?
No, Jeff. I just looked it up. I've seen pictures for it. That's right. I did see the cover for it back in Blockbuster.
Yeah.
I remember. I never picked it up, but yeah, I remember looking at this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for sharing exactly what it is that you would like to see remade. And this brings us to the end of the podcast. So that was really exciting. We had a lot to talk about. That was really cool. And for those of you guys listening on anchor.fm, not .com, or on the Anchor app, or on the Spotify app, or on Google Podcasts, or even watching us on YouTube, thank you so much for welcoming us into your ears and your home and your computer screens and stuff like that. Ears sounds weird, but you know what I mean. You were listening to us. Thank you. Thank you for listening to us.
Unless they have us on mute and subtitles.
Yeah, that's it, man. Whatever works, bro. Whatever works. But thank you so much for listening to us or watching us. As always, once again, you can always find us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube.com whenever the video is uploaded in video format. And that is on my end. The Kawasaki is on my end. But it was such a pleasure having you guys here, and we will obviously see you, or you will hear us on the next podcast. So without further ado, anybody will have any final words before we sign off? No?
I was trying to think of something funny.
Yeah, well, you didn't think quick enough, Brandon. So, but as always, I guess we can end the same way. Remember to be well and continue to nerd on, guys. So we will see you on the next one.
Bye.
All right. Hold up, because Brandon can cut all this stuff out.
I'll put this in bloopers.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and start. Well, I didn't even know what to say, man. There you go. What's up, guys, is what we say, right? All right, I'll stop. I promise I'll stop. All right. Well, what's up, guys? Oh, God. I was just about to go in, and the break Nate was like 2 minutes.
That's the third one.
Like fourth. All right.